Welcome. This short presentation is to help you out with understanding assigned protection factor for respirators when you're going through fit testers training. This is most difficult part of fit testers training to understand as respirators assigned protection factor and to deliver this part of presentation to students or workers you will be fit tested. Let me put my contact information on the screen if you'd like to contact me. Here it is. I'm working with 3 screens, so sometimes it may take me a bit of the time to find what I need. So that's the website. My name is Cezary Giluk, phone number and cezary.giluk@oscts.ca. That's how you can get in touch with me. So let's go to the presentation itself. Again, I have to change the slide. Here it is. So, assigned protection factor, what level of protection is required? Assigned protection factor is anticipated level of respiratory protection that would be provided by a properly functioning respirator or class of respirators to properly fitted and trained users. Type of equipment, assigned protection factor. We have number 10. What it means, those numbers, they mean for how many particles stopped, no more than 1 will go through. For half phase, it's 10, half phase, it's 10. Full phase, we have 2 numbers, 10 and 100. Number 10, if there is no other number here, that means that for 10 particles stopped, no more than 1 can go through and go into our respirator. With full phase, we have 2 numbers. 1 is 10, 1 is 100. Number 10 is for qualitative fit testing with smoke or sweet or bitter solution. So if fit testing is being done with smoke or sweet or bitter solution using hood, then assigned protection factor is 10. Second number here is 100. You probably successfully thrown paperwork which comes with the respirator to the garbage. Next time read it, because it will explain what assigned protection factor is assigned by manufacturer. For half phase, qualitative fit testing, smoke or sweet or bitter solution, it's 10, regardless. Also, if fit testing is done by quantitative method, like quantifit or procta count, assigned protection factor for half phase respirator cannot be higher than 10 if that's what was assigned by manufacturer. Here the same, first number, qualitative fit testing, smoke or sweet or bitter solution. Second number is 100, but read paperwork which comes with respirator. I have seen some having assigned protection factor just 50 when fit testing with quantitative method computerized equipment. So what it means, if full phase respirator was fit tested with qualitative smoke, sweet or bitter solution, assigned protection factor is 10. However, in that case, if half phase respirator was fit tested on the user using computerized equipment with quantifit or procta count equipment, most popular ones, assigned protection factor is 100. Differences: for 10 particles stopped, it is guaranteed that no more than 1 can go through. This number says that for 100 particles stopped, No more than one can go through. We have loose-fitting phase, powered air purifying respirators, loose-fitting half phase or full phase, helmet or hood. I will explain later where there is a major difference between air purifying respirators or powered air purifying respirators and why those assigned protection factor for powered are higher than for air purifying respirators. So you may want to print that slide, or you may want to write some text, stop the presentation, write some notes. It will be very useful in a short moment. So how to understand assigned protection factor? For example, workers are using half-phase respirator. Assigned protection factor is 10. And are working with contaminant, which occupational exposure limit is 50. Occupational exposure limits for different contaminants can be found in Alberta Occupational Health and Safety Code in table in Schedule 1. So we have half-phase respirator, assigned protection factor 10, contaminant we are working with, occupational exposure limit is 50. We are working with area where contamination is 100 particles per million. Assigned protection factor is 10. If we divide 100 by 10, that means no more than 10 particles per million can sneak inside of our respirator. Occupational exposure limit is 50. We are way below occupational exposure limit. We are good. Now, conditions changed or different area. Contamination is 200 particles per million divided by assigned protection factor of 10. We may be exposed up to 20 parts per million of that contaminant inside of our respirator. Occupational exposure limit is 50. Our exposure is up to 20, a lot lower than 50, we are good. Next example, contamination is 450 particles per million. So 450 particles per million divided by assigned protection factor of 10, we may be exposed up to 45 parts per million, still below occupational exposure limit, and we are good. The last example here, contamination is 550 parts per million, or particles per million. 550 divided by assigned protection factor of 10, we may be exposed up to 55 particles per million, which is above half phase, above 50, which is occupational exposure limit for that contaminant. That means we cannot use a half phase respirator. However, what we can do, we can use full face mask where workers were fit tested with computerized equipment like QuantaFit or ProctaCount. Assigned protection factor was 100. Assigned protection factor is 100. So if we divide 550 parts per million by assigned protection factor of 100, the maximum exposure with properly fitted and worn respirator is no higher than 5.5 parts or particles per million, way below occupational exposure limit. That means we are good. Now the difference between negative and positive air purifying respirators. Air purifying, half phase, assigned protection factor is 10. Powered, half phase is 50. Air purifying regular 10. Half phase powered air purifying respirator is 50. Why such a difference? Half phase respirator, we breathe air in, our rib cage is expanding, creating vacuum inside, air is being sucked into the lungs, and when we are wearing respirator, air is being filtered by filter for particles, and cartridges for gas or vapor. That means if respirator is not sealing us properly and we have negative pressure inside of our respirator, the contaminants can sneak around our respirator through the area where respirator is not sealing us properly. That's why assigned protection factor is low, just 10. Positive pressure air purifying respirators, where the difference is, we have electric fan moving air through filter or cartridge or both, combination of both, through the holes into, in that case, full face helmet. That means that pressure, air pressure inside of that mask is higher than ambient pressure outside. So if respirator would be leaking, air will be pushed outside of the respirator through areas which do not seal properly. So possibility of contaminants sneaking in are a lot lower than when we have regular negative pressure half-face respirator. That's why assigned protection factor for negative pressure half-face air purifying respirator is just 10. For half-face powered air purifying respirators is 50. Full face piece is 1000, or helmet on hood is 1000. That's what we have here. So I hope that will help you with preparation for your train the trainer for fit testers. Let me put my contact information for a short moment on the screen. Here it is, website, phone, email. So if you are already booked for a Train the Trainer program, you have any questions, you can give me a call. Or if you are interested in participating in Train the Trainer for fit testers, utilizing qualitative methods, that means fit testing with the smoke or sweet or bitter solution, give me a call or send me an email. So that conducts our presentation. You need more time, stop that presentation, write it down. If not, we just finished our presentation. I wish you good luck with your training and good luck with fit testing workers for fit testing workers.